Hey, welcome back. Another day, another vlog. We're back. Woo! 24 hours of fun and excitement. Sleeping in the airports. What we do, a 3-hour drive, just as a piece. Or 2-hour drive, just as a piece for an hour. Another hour drive, about 3-4 hours in the airport. 5.5-hour flight, about 5 hours in the airport, watching movies and sleeping. And an hour and a half to work, then 12.5 hours, and now we're here. We're back on site. It was a good holiday and some great news to end it up. We finally got a house. Miracle. On the last, just as I was leaving, about to get on the plane, we found out we had a win. So super stoked about that. So big news for my family. Yeah, we've got a home to live in. So that's 5 months of hard work trying to get it done. So it's been pretty crazy. Big shout out to my lovely and amazing wife for all the hard work she's done. It's a never ending, every morning looking at the real estate sites, constantly going, ringing, chasing. These real estate agents have never had like this sort of pressure before. They're getting pumped. They're basically, houses are going up and then they're selling that day. They can't get enough land. They can't get enough houses to sell. It's crazy. So it's one of those crazy times in our life. But yeah, we got through it. We've had a win, and yeah, we've got something to build on and build our life. So pretty happy about that. Downside, I've had, I think, 2.5 hours sleep in the last 36 hours. So I'm going to crash tonight. So I'm going to try have dinner, and I just had to set up all the room. I'm going to I'll have dinner. I may sit down and do some stuff. I'll see how I go. I've got some photos there I want to edit. We have a few more things to sort out in here and clean up and tidy up. But yeah, got my little studio back. So happy about that. And yeah, other than that, we've got a little bit of news we're going to talk about. But yeah, so maybe a little bit behind this week. It's going to be one of those catch-up weeks, but we're sort of back to standard, same thing every day, over and over, just repetitive. Back to Groundhog Day. That's what life is like here. And yeah, once you get into that routine, it's sort of pretty good because you can set up your day and you know what's coming. So that's always fun. Rightio, so a little bit of news. Let's get this done and dusted because I probably look like in the words of Photo Ripper, like a head full of busted platypus feet or something, which I probably feel too. So, big news in Australia. Probably bigger news in Australia because we've had a lot of negative stuff lately with the electric cars, and as I said, they cost a fortune here, 130 roughly. To get you in the door of a decent one, all the way up to 200 grand plus to 300,000 for the top of the range roadsters and shit, roadsters and stuff like that. Well, ACT's sort of put a little bit of a foot forward. They've announced they're going to give you, if someone buys a car before 2024, I think it is, yeah, till June 2024, you buy an electric car from May now onwards, you get 2 years free rego. So that's not too bad. That equates roughly on a normal car is about $600. There's going to be about $1,200 for 2 years worth of rego, $1,200 to $1,500, I guess, depending on the car. That's pretty good. And also some stamp duty discounts as well, I think. Possibly no stamp duty, but they're looking at some other ways. It's still not going to make them affordable. By no means. $1,200 is not going to make a $130,000 car available for the average person. Most average wage in Australia is $80,000 Australian. So if you're in the US, that's probably about 40 to 50 grand. And I guess the cars, they're here, you're looking at 100 plus, just let's say even worst case, best case scenario, 100 grand. That's still going to be like 70,000 US. So that's nearly a whole year's wage just on the car. So very expensive to own a car here, and for electric car. So it's going to be the fact that they probably need to get rid of the luxury car tax for electric cars. That's 33% that gets chucked onto a car as soon as it lands. So that something like that has the ability to change Australia's electric future, I believe. So anyway, look, I think it's a good step forward. Melbourne put a negative one out where they charge everyone 2.5 cents a kilometre every time you use an electric car, and then they try to give a discount for a couple of $3 to balance it out, but it didn't really work out. New South Wales is saying there's really no benefit to buying an electric car at the moment, other than not paying for petrol. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. They really need the government to step in and offload, at least for maybe the next 10 years, cut luxury car tax on electric cars. That would see a massive surge in the amount of cars. Well, it at least brings them, I think, will bring them down into the affordable range. You get the F-150 electric ute, you get the Rivians coming, all those utes as well. They're going to be awesome in Australia if we can get those as well. Not going to be if they're 200 grand, so yeah, you know what I mean. Right, now, also on that, the Prius, the Toyota Prius, the hybrid, they've been around for, early 2000s, I'd have to hazard a guess. Look, they're doing their final orders, so if whatever order's in now, they're fulfilling, and then that's it. That's the end of the Prius name. It's all over. Toyota's going full on into electric. They're looking at not a totally different. Motors and stuff are pretty much similar, but what they're looking at is solid state batteries. It costs a hell of a lot more for the batteries, but they're a lot better for the environment and more power for your buck. So Toyota's going a very high-tech way. It's going to be interesting to see if they can handle it against the likes of Tesla and survive in that electric community. They've had a late start. They're going all guns in, and the announcement of that Prius, that brand name, that hybrid, I guess the biggest name hybrid there has been for 20 years. They started there, and then they that was it. That was all they ever offered. They could have been way in front of the curve. They could have been in front of Tesla a long time ago, but they just chose not to. So very strange. But look, sad to see it go. They weren't a bad car. They did a lot of taxis in Australia, Priuses. They are fuel efficient. From earlier ones that I got to see, they were terrible as soon as you put the aircon on, especially in the territory when it's humid and hot. Constantly, the aircon's always going flat stick. That sucked the juice pretty hard, so it made it very hard to make it profitable. Right, now over Canon rumours, CR3, that means it's pretty much locked in. The R3 pricing. Now, the Canon rumours are saying that it's going to undercut competition. So what that means is you've got the 1DX M3, which in America is $6,500. Here is $10,500, a massive difference. It's actually cheaper to buy the 1DX in America and then ship it here. You'd save yourself a couple of grand. Now, so they're $10.5 grand here, they're $6,500 there. The Sony A1, that new beast of a camera, that's $6,500, a little roughly, so about the same price as the 1DX M3. They're saying this R3, so that's the one with the full rugged body, sort of 1DX model, but with all the M3, R5 goodness, sort of all that magic stuff in it, is going to be $6 grand US. So that we're going to be looking, well, realistically, if that's $6 grand, you're going to get sub 10,000 in Australia if you just buy it in America, if you go on a holiday and come back with it. Or it's going to be at least under, maybe in Australia, they might even be able to get it down to $9,999 cheaper. So look, that's great news. Obviously, they've got another flagship to come, the R1. That's going to be the expensive $10,000 plus. What those features are, all the rumours we've heard about that, we've talked about many times. But this R3, look, that's a big game changer. It's going to definitely put some heat on Sony. If you can't beat them, make it cheaper. And for that quality, look, I still couldn't afford it. 6,000 units, that's nearly 10 grand for a camera. That's a mega lot of cash. But wow, that is good value when you put it up against an A1 or that 1DMX3. It sort of makes a 1DMX3 pretty much obsolete. Once this thing comes out, you'd have to be thinking to yourself a fair bit to spend that extra 1,000 to $2 grand just to have an old DSLR. So anyway, we'll see. But look, that's pretty much locked in and loaded from his sources. He's normally really good in that regards. And the last but not least, big one today that came out, the new, the development announcement of the GH6 for Panasonic. Not much specs on that. I'm sure we're going to get a heap of stuff coming out shortly. But they released the GH5 M2 out, 4K 60, 10-bit 420 video. The video specs are crazy. Vlog, full-size HDMI in it, 2 card slots. Look, 20.3 megapixel MOS sensor in it, so it's got all the latest chips in it. 5-axis stabilization, and Vlog as standard in this camera. Roughly about, can be around the $2,000 mark Australian. They're saying 1,400 US, so about $2,000, a little bit over that. So that's a lot of video camera in that. Now it is a micro Four Thirds. That's, I guess, video doesn't really matter. So APS-C micro Four Thirds, video doesn't really hurt you. But M50 4K was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It just didn't. The first version just didn't focus in 4K, so that was the only trouble I had with that. But like the video, it was fan-bloody-tastic. You can't knock. The smaller sensor size does not hurt video. Photos, I now have seen the other side. I would not go use it for photos. That's why the M50 had to go, and we're moving up. But look, that's a good camera. Now, if you want to go and get a really good review, go see my good friends Ingaf. This is their first, probably, I guess, big camera review. They do a lot of great stuff, a lot of cheap stuff, a lot of entry-level for us entry-level guys. They're really good. They have a lot of fun. But, yeah, they've got a really good review. Go support the little creators out as you can. Give them a bit of a watch. Give them a flick. Let them know I sent you. That'd be much appreciated. They'll have a bit of a laugh about that as well. But the boys did a great job on that video. And, look, the camera looks good. The video looks really, really good. I think it's going to do really well. Stabilization, the video, the options there for video. It's a heck of a lot of camera. So, look, very, very cool. That's it. Done and dusted. We're back. We're here. We've got all the stuff ready to go. Set up for another 2 weeks on site. Day 1 dusted. 13 days to go before we go back to front and go back the other side of the country yet again. Yeah, we're here. Radio, thanks for stopping by. I will see you all again tomorrow for another day, another vlog. We'll be coming this way, that way. I'll catch you tomorrow after some sleep. Peace out.